All right, guys, here we are. SHOT Show 2024, last day of the show. It's already getting a little less crowded. I don't know if you noticed it on this side, but
I did.
Walking over here, yeah.
Bit of a ghost town in here today, but you know what? It's okay. We'll make the best of it. We'll make lemonade today.
Exactly. So we're at the Spot X booth, or just Spot?
Spot, yeah.
Just Spot. This is the Spot X. This is what I have.
Okay.
And we actually had a bug out weekend class that we did, like going over some like survival stuff.
Okay.
And one of the guest speakers we had talked about how important these things were.
They are.
Not everybody who watches the channel came to that bug out thing. So man, I know I have the Spot X. You've got some different products up here.
Yeah.
Just tell the people what you do and why this is important.
Yeah, we'll finish with the Spot X, since you were already there, but we can talk about what Spot was built on. This is a Generation 4. The Spot, around 17 years ago, we started off with a simple one-way communicator that had basically 3 buttons: power button, check-in button, and a tracking button, or an SOS button.
Right.
And then it's gone through its generational changes, obviously to this, where it's grown into 5 different buttons, but the base functionality is still there. You're looking at about maybe between 6 weeks and 2 months worth of battery life on these 4 onboard lithium batteries. So very handy, but it's a standalone device, right? So it doesn't have any Bluetooth built into it, so it's not going to pair with your phone. But it does have all the right buttons on it. It's got a check-in, it's got tracking, but it has the all-important and get-out-of-jail-free card, that SOS button. Okay. So it's nicely protected behind this door here, so you can't accidentally press it when it's in your pack or whatnot.
Right.
But when things go sideways, which we can never predict when that's going to happen.
Absolutely.
You got that get out of jail. So that's the Spot. That's the Gen 4. Then we move to the 2-way. This is a back and forth. So really nice. Gives you the ultimate flexibility because you can pair it with a smartphone using the Bluetooth. This can be hanging on your pack. You pull out your phone, send your text. Put your phone away. Okay, you're not even touching this. It's not on cellular, it's on satellite. So once you go off grid, which most of your guys are going to go off grid, that way you have that ultimate flexibility. But let's say the phone battery goes away and this phone is no longer useful. You still have a physical keyboard. You can still send your messages back and forth to family and friends. And just like the Generation 4, you got that SOS button built in right behind a nice hard plastic door, so it can't be accidentally depressed. Okay.
And with the Spot X, so like you of course can customize. You got the keyboard to type it out, but are there preset messages like you can just hit a button or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. Good question.
Yeah.
14 preset messages. Those don't count toward your message total. So when you buy a plan, and we have 3 different plans for these, 20 messages, 100 messages, unlimited messages. The predefined messages and the check-in, they don't count toward that total.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I didn't know
you can
that.
just go ahead and hit those anytime, and you can customize them. You can change them before you leave. So I would say, put your favorite ones in there, punch those out, right? So that's good. But every time you create a custom, that counts toward your total.
Okay. Yeah.
So, also, when you send a message, you have the ability to embed that GPS location in that message. So when your people that receive it, they're going to get a nice little link in their text message. You're going to tap on it. It's going to pull up a Google Map. It's going to tell them exactly where they are.
That's very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I love these things. So the first time I went out west with James on that motorcycle trip, he handed me one of those, said put this in there, because if you're out in the desert and you get lost, like this will help me find you. And you guys were talking yesterday. I mean, you've got it. Where is it? Right there. Thousands of rescues made already. And
by March, this will say 10,000 rescues, and that's no joke. I mean, we've been in business long enough to, and it's a number that you're kind of proud of, but you're not totally proud of. But yeah, 10,000 souls saved is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah.
So
not a joke at all.
We love our stuff. The last thing, battery life. So when you're on a safety device like this, the one thing that you want to make sure is you get something that, whether it's ours or somebody else's, you got to make sure that thing's going to work when you need to hit that button. So between 10 and 14 days on a single charge with this guy.
Very cool.
So
very cool. What about this Spot Trace?
Yeah, let's talk about the Trace.
And that's while connected, that battery life, or is
it
like airplane mode where you're turning
No,
off?
because it doesn't. So in the evenings, let's say when you're not moving, you got your pack down, and it's not detecting any movement. It'll go into a hibernation mode. And then when you grab your pack, that accelerometer inside there will wake it up, and then you'll go. So it's not going to be constantly pinging. Even if you have active tracking going, say you have a 10-minute track going, if the evening time you're not moving, it's not going to do anything. Then once you grab it, it'll start tracking again. So the trace right here, this little guy is the hidden gem in the Spot family, I think. I mean, there's only 3 family members, but this little guy is super, super cool. There's no safety built into it. Its primary job is to get stuff back.
Okay.
You know, and so we don't have to bleep out my words. If you want to get your shit back, this is what you want to have. This is all the satellite technology that's built into the X and the Gen 4, but without the SOS button. So what this guy does, you power it up for the first time. If you want to come in closer here. If I can get the button to push because it's all back sealed. So now it powers up. Okay, these LED lights just tell me, hey, they're working. These lights will stay on for about 5 minutes and then they'll go off.
Okay.
So if this is somewhere in your camper, it's somewhere on a trailer, or it's somewhere on a car, and it's stuck somewhere that's dark, you're not going to see it.
Right.
Okay. Comes with a bracket that mounts pretty much wherever you want. It's got Velcro that comes in the box. It's got 2-way tape. But this thing is full stealth. You can set tracking intervals as short as 2.5 minutes to up to an hour. And then it has movement alerts, it has a power off alert, it has a low battery alert.
Okay.
And then the last and coolest part is that if you have some way to add power to it, say like you have a car that you can connect to the battery, there's a cable that you can buy for it, attaches right on the bottom, so you have dedicated power all the time.
You never have to worry about that low battery
But then
alert.
when you got that guy that says, I'm gonna borrow your shit without asking, and they cut that cord, then you got 2 months worth of battery life sitting on here, right here. Okay. The only places that it won't work, buildings like this,
right,
inside metal buildings, but as soon as somebody starts to move stuff, you're gonna know it. So
Very
I have
cool.
one of these in my truck, I have one of these in my wife's car, and this one happens to go in my trade show bag that when it goes to the airport, I know where it is.
Yes.
It reports on an app.
Reports on an
app. It can also, it'll send you a text message and an email, so you have that, both of those
redundancy
types of things, so you have that redundancy. And then it also has a status message that comes out every day, 24 hours. It just tells you, hey, this thing is cool, hasn't moved, it's in the same spot. We see a lot of construction companies that use these, put them on heavy equipment.
I bet.
And then we also have what's called a dock mode. And what the dock mode is that's kind of a dumb way of saying a geofence, if you don't know what a geofence is, right? So that geofence is 200 meters, so it can have that heavy equipment can be moving around the yard and it won't send any alerts, but once it moves outside of the yard, then it'll start sending alerts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So nice. It's really nice if you put them on a boat or something and it's in a harbor, you don't want to have that constant motion like setting it off. So
very cool.
that's the trace.
So what people are going to ask, what's the MSRP, what's the subscription model look like, all that stuff?
So we'll start with the trace. The trace is $129 retail.
Okay.
It has 2 plans, an annual plan and a monthly plan. And that's a true monthly plan, meaning 30-day blocks. You can turn it on for just the months you need to use it and turn it off for the rest of those months. That is $9.95 and $11.95. Okay.
Okay.
Then if we move over to the Gen 4, it's $149 retail. 2 plans, annual and monthly, $14.95 and $11.95. Okay. Very simple, very straightforward. Doesn't do a lot. Just does what it needs to do.
Yep.
Then we get into the Spot X. That obviously is going to be a little more complex because it does 2-way. So it has 3 different plans. And well, technically it has 6 different plans. So 3 different variations. And the only difference between those 3 are the number of messages. So you've got 20 messages or 100 messages or unlimited. If you buy an annual, it starts at $11.95 and goes up. If you do month to month, $14.95. So we don't break the bank.
Right.
We get that $249 retail for the X. So you're into it if you want to do a Spot X and you want to do month to month. You're probably going to spend like right around $300. That's going to save you $100 from our competitors.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the peace of mind of having it. And can messages roll over or anything like that?
Unfortunately not. Yeah, unfortunately
that's
not.
All right.
Which is okay, because if you go over, it's only 25 cents.
Right.
Yeah. So. I mean, I would challenge somebody to burn through 20 messages in a month unless they're gone the whole month.
Right.
So.
And not counting preloaded ones, which you can change. Right before you go out.
Yeah.
So with your audience too, I'm sure most of your guys, they do a lot of travel too. So they go outside of the country, they go into different areas of the world. We have almost full global coverage. So the areas that we don't are going to be areas that we don't have a gateway, which would be like, say, India or, you know, some of the Asian countries and Russia and that kind of stuff. But aside from that, full coverage in South America, full coverage in, you know, Australia, Europe, that kind of stuff, Africa.
Very cool.
You mentioned that this SOS button right here as a get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
How does it do that?
Well, you hit that SOS button, and let's say you're in crisis jail. You know, is how I look at it. You know, like, you know, I broke my leg, or I'm having a heart attack, or I'm having, you know, some sort of medical event, or hell, I just got mauled by a bear, and I'm like, you know, laying in the dirt somewhere. That's your like, somebody's got to come and get me out of jail, and that's what this button will do. Our average, not hours, but the response time from our people is right around an hour, I think, is the longest that it takes.
Okay.
So when you hit the SOS button, all other functionality of this guy basically stops except for messaging. And Focus Point, which is based in Florida, they're our SOS, or our search and rescue coordinators. They will attempt to open a texting dialogue with you to try to triage you and figure out, you know, how bad your injury is. So if you've got a broken leg, you should be able to respond back and let them know that. Then they can gauge what type of search and rescue is going to come get you. If they don't hear from you, they're sending everybody.
Right.
And if you're deep in a national forest, it could be Forest Service, it could be National Guard, you could see a Black Hawk, who knows what you could see, right? So, and then if it's life flight or something like that, you know, you're in a more regional area, then you could do that. The one other thing about SOS is that we offer, through Focus Point, an insurance policy that covers for two $50,000 rescues per year. It's called Overwatch Rescue. And that's cheap insurance, man. It's only $30 a year. That price is actually going up in February. And I don't know if, you know, you guys have ever had to pay for a helicopter ride, but it's going to be close to 50 grand minimum, you know. So it's very advantageous. The way it works is it kicks in when your personal insurance maxes out.
Okay. Excellent. And so just to be clear, like when you hit that SOS button, it goes to the people down in Florida, and then they reach out to the local people in
they
where
they take the data from here.
Yeah.
And then they map it out and they look and see, okay, who's closest? Who's going to respond the fastest?
Yes.
At the same time, they assign somebody to contact your two emergency contacts. So two of your family members that are not with you on that adventure, to let them know what's happening, you know, so that they're in the loop too. And then it's, you know, it's game on right there after that. You know, they're all over it. So
that's excellent.
Yep.
So, Spot X, with a basic plan, we're looking at what for a first year with the insurance, like total all in. If I wanted a base plan with this unit, have that insurance.
You're probably looking at
SOS functionality is not additional.
No, it's not. No, we don't charge any extra stuff. We're very straightforward with what we offer. All three plans, again, like I said, the only differences between the three is the number of messages.
Right.
On the ultimate plan, you get 2.5 minute tracking for your breadcrumbing. But aside from that, everything is broken out. So for a base annual plan with the device, probably looking at, you know, I'm doing a rough math in my head, so $250 for the device, right around $170 with the Overwatch insurance. So you're right in there, you know.
So for about or under $500, I can make sure that no matter what happens to me, I can communicate with people and I can get a QRF sent to me to get me out of a bad situation
100%.
For under $500. And that's my first year all-in cost. And it'll be less than half of that kind of each year after that.
It'll be about that. Well, because you'll be taking the device cost out of it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right.
So that is very, very cheap insurance to be able to keep communications. We all know how important communications is. This is incredible. I was expecting much higher plan rates. Like I said, I was unaware of a lot of the information about the spot. Like, if you're not getting one of these, if you don't have one of these, like, you need to unfuck yourself.
Yeah.
And those are my words, not the words of Spot.
Absolutely, man. Well, Brian, thank you so much.
It was really a pleasure meeting both of you guys.
Yeah, easy day, guys. So Lewis covered it perfectly. This is important. If you're taking this stuff seriously, you should be looking at this with severe consideration, right?
Absolutely, yeah. You cannot step away from something. You can't step away on your adventure if you're going to go by yourself, or whether you're going to go with friends. You got to be able to do it. You know, you got to have it with you. And I know people. There are a lot of cavalier people that are younger that feel like they're invincible.
Yep.
I'm here to tell you, man, you are not invincible.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Well, guys, thank you for watching. We're going to knock out this last day of shot, so stay tuned. We should have some more videos coming up. And remember, your responsibility to be ready for the fight never ends.